Look, we knew the Steelers were going to face the Jets before Bell signed with the Jets, but it landed so late on the calendar that it's not nearly as compelling. Just think if it would have been a week 1 or a week 2 type of a game. But Bell is healthy. Bell had a great night last Thursday against the Ravens, and Bell has an opportunity, along with the rest of the Jets, to throw a major wrench into this late season effort by the Steelers to get to the playoffs. And I think the Steelers, even though they are overmatched in almost every game they play, I think through just sheer force of Mike Tomlin's will and personality, they'll win the game. But Le'Veon Bell is going to do everything he can to screw it up, and I won't be surprised if he does, Big Cat.
Yeah, how mad is Le'Veon Bell that he's playing against this Steelers defense and not the Steelers defense that the team had like a couple of years ago when it was the weakness of the team? Because this Steelers defense is one of my favorite units in all of football, and it's going to be a tough task for Le'Veon Bell on Sunday. You mentioned Mike Tomlin. I like to right my wrongs when it comes to things I say that are very, very wrong. And my assessment of the entire situation last year was completely wrong. Mike Tomlin deserves all the credit because it's pretty clear when you've seen what's happened with Antonio Brown, you see that Le'Veon Bell, was gone and had no intention of playing for the Steelers last year. Mike Tomlin keeping that team together, keeping this team together, it's incredible. He's my coach of the year. I know he probably won't win because he doesn't have enough wins this year, but Mike Tomlin deserves more credit. And I think there was a lot of people who kind of, myself included, who's like, hey, he's losing the locker room. It's a circus. You got the periscopes and the Facebook Lives and all this noise. Mike Tomlin has kept this organization on track in a year that things like any other organization, Mike, and this is a 4-win team. Mike Tomlin has got them on the precipice of getting into the playoffs. They're not going to do anything in the playoffs, but the fact that we're talking about the playoffs is incredible and a testament to him as a head coach.
Well, and one of the things we've learned this year about Antonio Brown, there is no way you're going to get anything out of the guy if you ever say or do anything that he doesn't like to hear, right? He wants no one telling him he can't do what he wants to do. And I think the ultimate psychological test for Mike Tomlin was figuring out how to best handle Antonio Brown at a time when he was highly talented and highly skilled. And that's the deal with the devil that Mike Tomlin did. And the fact that he kept Antonio Brown, even though all the stuff we heard after the fact of the things that were kept under wraps, the fact that he avoided a full and complete Antonio Brown meltdown during all those years together is remarkable in hindsight, because everyone else has failed to handle Antonio Brown, including the people close to him. No one can tell him anything. No one can get him to put his phone down for 10 minutes. I mean, he's his own worst enemy, and Tomlin coached him and directed him and guided him into a way that avoided being a major problem until the end of last season when it just all blew up. And I think his skills had gotten to the point where the Steelers decided it's time to move on. We've dealt with this long enough. But the fact that Tomlin kept it from blowing up before last year, in hindsight, is one of the greatest coaching accomplishments that I can ever remember.
Yeah, and I like the Steelers in this game. I think the Steelers, when, their defense, the old saying, defense travels. Duck Hodges, I'm a Duck guy. He did, in fact, kill the Steelers last Sunday, and so it's going to be important for him to get back on track, and he really doesn't have to do that much. That's the thing. He needs to play within himself. He needs to not make the mistakes that killed him. The famous quote that Mike Tomlin had when he made the switch from Mason Rudolph to Duck Hodges, well, Duck Hodges hasn't killed us yet. It happened last week. So I expect him to play a clean game, and I think the Steelers are going to win this game, and we're going to be in Week 17 talking about them in the playoffs.
Here's my Duck Hodges take that you can steal and act like it was your own. They need to keep playing Duck Hodges because they need to assess which of these guys can potentially be the replacement for Roethlisberger at some point down the road. It's not Mason Rudolph. They need to see where Duck Hodges' ceiling is. That's one of the reasons why he's still playing.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.